For those of you who are not familiar, we're going to be doing a bit of a design of a universal enhancement tree. You can see the title there is called Frozen Soul. So it's a hybrid tank magic tree focusing on ice. However, before we do that, I have to let everybody know that we're doing this, which is going to take me a second to set up. Do you have a fun anecdote or story to share about your past week or something?
Oh God, I've got a lot of really not so fun development anecdotes that are mostly us running down a variety of like we've been working pretty tirelessly on running down sources of performance problems.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent like several hours today getting Excel to graph things. So really just lots of excitement all around. Um, just oh my gosh, it's been a big mess. But some good news is that we found not one, not two, but three separate individual guaranteed this causes lag and we can fix it just by making the code better thing.
Oh, that's fun.
Mostly around monk and raging and some other stuff. And so we're gonna get that for you guys together. Not for U49 because that's like it's a little late to be putting in backend changes for that, but for a patch shortly thereafter. So that's good.
Yeah, that's
It's
pretty cool.
yeah, a lot of the stuff like that, like it's like 1,000 cuts kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're only saving like a third of a server frame, but like it's like fixed number 40 in the third of a server frame thing.
Yeah, well, DDO players get that. Like, anybody that plays DDO in any capacity whatsoever will know that you are always going to be like if you're playing the game, it's all very, very, very incremental. Every step is very, very small. So, you're gonna be oh geez, there we go. Every step is very small, so you're always gonna be in a scenario where it's like, does that +1 damage matter? Does that +3 melee power matter? Well, yeah, it actually does if it ends up all over the place. It's the same kind of concept, right?
Yeah. To answer a quick chat question, what are we doing to Rage? We are changing how the Rage feat interacts with the block back end of feat directory. This is imperceptible to players. This is entirely about like data architecture. Don't stress about it. Like
Yeah.
a lot of game development is not, I would say, not flashy. It's mostly just being like, hey, this call's taken too long. Script callback is 88%. That's got to be 85% for op to perform it.
Yeah.
And but we're making progress.
Well, it's the kind of thing where like everybody's working on different pieces, and it's also stuff that's been worked on before. So it's somebody made it before you got there. You're just kind of just sipping your coffee, and you're like, oh, I gotta check this thing. It's gonna work like this. That's no problem. And you like open the file, and you're just drinking your coffee, and you're like, oh, this is good. My whole morning's gone now.
Yeah, I feel like it's like when I first joined the team, people said to me that the first time I ever griped about something, I was like, God, who set this up? It's terrible. And then opened it up and realized that I was the one that set that up. And everyone's like, yay, you officially joined the team. Like,
That's great.
you've done it. And then there's the corollary to that, in which you have this great idea that you're not sure is technically feasible, and you go through a whole bunch of R&D, and you find that someone out there has put this together before, so you know it works, and you're looking at it, and it turns out the person who invented it was you, and you have no memory of how that would have ever worked. But it's right there.
It's right there. You're like,
figured it out.
oh man, I wish somebody had made this tool. Oh, it was me. Good job, past me. Good job. I never would have thought of that.
Exactly.
My frozen soul is missing the S from focusing. That's embarrassing. Well, I'm not changing it now. So that's called
you could change it because I had an interesting idea here. Hypothetically speaking, I know this says it's an enhancement tree. Well, it doesn't actually say that, but what if this were an epic destiny?
Just do an epic destiny out of nowhere.
Just do an epic destiny. And now I know you and the Players Council have seen the new Epic Destiny format, and we're not going to be doing that because that would require pulling all the cards out of our sleeves. What if we just make it an old Epic Destiny, a current Epic Destiny, with 6 cores along the bottom, starting with 0, and ending at 5, and then 6 tiers on the top, and then a row.
Why does that
you know,
start at 0? Oh, whose idea was that one?
I don't know.
That's great.
I don't know. I mean, are you feeling more Epic Destiny in the mood, or are you feeling more of an enhancement tree? I'll
I
leave
can
it
put
up
it to a
you.
poll. Just put it to a poll.
Put it to a poll.
ED or an enhancement tree. Do both? Yeah, I don't have all day. Enhancement tree. That's not true, but you don't have all day, maybe.
I have approximately 2 hours, and it takes around 2 hours. I think when you have Destinies, maybe no, it's we are planning a gigantic overhaul to the Epic Destiny system later on this year. This was in the producer's letter. That's going to involve structural changes, systematic changes. We've been working on this for just about a year now, but that's coming later.
Yeah, and we can't really talk about it. That's always the hardest thing. Coming in a year, you just gotta wait.
Oh yeah, no, it's been hard trying to keep some of that stuff under wraps, because like we'll see genuine feedback that is like, this Epic Destiny system could be improved in these ways and stuff, and we're just like, we're already doing that. Like, we're gonna do that. Just hold on for a little longer. I promise it'll get better. But
yeah.
Gosh. What's my go-to character for DDO? That's a great question, because I try really hard to diversify. Now, granted, I haven't played Dungeons & Dragons on live in a very, very long time. So this is entirely on internal builds and testing out new stuff. I don't know. Usually, I just kind of play Warlock because I really like Warlock. Like, I really like it.
I remember you used to be like a big swashbuckler believer. You're like, every time I would be like, oh, what build you're running? You're like, oh, intelligent swashbuckler.
Well, yeah, and then like, I don't know. Now when I look at the Bard class, all I could see is I really want to put Bardic colleges into the game, you know, and like, so you gotta weigh some of that stuff.
Would that be the kind of situation where like the current trees turn into Bardic colleges plus Bardic colleges, or like just be like
a domain situation in which you
it's
take
like part of the base
early
class.
Thing and
okay.
Yeah. What's this poll looking like so far?
Poll is 71% Epic Destiny, 29% Enhancement Tree.
So, well, it looks like you can pay to win on this poll here.
You literally can pay to win. Every vote costs you 2 US cents. So, and you can also vote with your sun flasks. The poll is almost over, by the way. So, yeah, please vote now.
Oh, it's climbing back. Someone's paying to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone's turning around.
Yeah, 100%. Please pay to win. I encourage that heavily. It is a good idea. Yeah, I do this for all the polls. I always make them pay to win.
Yeah,
unless I'm gathering real feedback and real data. So like we've done polls about just how people feel about certain topics, or like given one scenario. So for example, I've done polls about how people feel about Reaper mode, or what type of questing pattern people have, or
how do you feel about Reaper mode?
Me or everyone in chat?
You specifically. What's your one sentence take on Reaper mode as a whole?
Okay, my one sentence take on Reaper mode as a whole is that I think that Reaper mode is really positive for the game, and it gives people opportunities to play together in ways that feel very old school DDO, while at the same time is very self-destructive because it funnels everyone into a difficulty setting that not everyone wants to play.
That makes a lot of sense. That jives from what I've been kind of vibing from the player base. It seems like there's a tremendous desire, especially amongst established players, for us to because when the first Reaper mode first came out, there was this gigantic surge as players rose to this challenge. And now that these players, like these really, really, these really good DDO players, have really figured out what Reaper mode is all about, and they're able to master it, there's kind of the same desire over again, that for us to build a better challenge for them to overcome. So They also really want blue Reaper wings for some reason.
Yes, everybody wants Reaper Wing colors. It's
Yeah, I
been
got a
like
brick
3
through my
years.
window one time with blue Reaper wings written on it. It was like it's
I could deal with blue Reaper Wings, but I would like a little bit more is not Reaper Wings, but instead the eyes, the burning eyes. It's been 3 years of this bug. The Warforged eyes are like a straight foot off of their face instead of being on the face.
that's working as intended. That's
It's just a really intense stare.
all right.
What are they called? The
wow.
Epic Destinies? Are they called cores?
Yes. Core 0, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Or
5,
just
and then there's a tier 6 which I can make on the Google Doc.
Yeah, there's the tier 6.
All right, I'm going to see if I can do copying and pasting correctly here. I'm going to just hit him with the copy paste. Oh, tier 6. Oh. All right. This is going to be weird for me because I've been physically making new Epic Destinies in this flow. So we're taking a weird step back.
Yeah, this is going to be really weird.
This is gonna be really weird, but I want to see what we can come up with because there's been the same 12 for 10 years now, and there's a lot we can do. There's a lot we can do here.
Okay, so the new Ice Epic Destiny Frozen Soul, sick, and this is live. This is not a replay.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
This is not a ghost.
Yeah, well, you could be a ghost. You could all be an illusion. I've been
God,
playing.
I wish.
I've been playing an illusionist on hardcore named Chris Angel, Mind Freak. So you never know.
No, I am really happy with how Fate Arc came out. It was built with this current Epic Destiny system in mind, and I really want to, because it's like it's not just that Illusion doesn't have Epic Destiny support that well. It's that Epic Destinies as they are right now they just need so much more in them. And let's figure this out. Let's put this together.
Okay.
Step 1 here.
What sphere does this go into?
What sphere? I'm kind of feeling like it's an arcane tank tree.
But it could also be primal because there's like ice in there, you know, like druid kind of nature. So
solid. Do you want to put that to a poll and we just build the rest of it and then we come back?
Well, because that's going to inform sort of like how it comes together, right? Because if it's an arcane, you want to focus about like, you know, maybe it's like the enchantment of the ice. So it's not about, it's less about like if it's primal, it's got more of a natural feel to it. So a lot of like storm, like ice storm, that sort of thing.
Water, you know, as like a thing rather than.
It's like,
all right.
Yeah.
I'm kind of feeling primal. That makes a lot of sense to me.
See, I was kind of feeling arcane.
Interesting. Well, I think you're right. So let's do arcane.
Okay. Yeah, so this will be an arcane destiny. So arcane sphere. Okay, so what goes into an epic destiny?
Epic Destiny step 1 is there's an entire column of stats. We can just fill those in right now.
Oh yeah, column of stats. Okay, what are the
stats? Of stats. I'm thinking gotta have con because it's tank.
It's gotta have con because it's tank.
All right, this is an arcane mage, so this is probably intelligence and then charisma. So con int ka.
Is there 3 in an epic destiny? I think epic destinies are 2.
Epic destinies can have 3. Divine Crusader has 3.
Oh, Divine Crusader has 3. Beautiful. Genius. Yes, Divine Crusader does have 3. Sorry, I forget. I've never played that Destiny before.
I'm pretty sure we have icons for the 3. And so,
yeah, you do.
Divine Crusader is 3, and its strength was.
Well, it's actually funny. The icon that's used for 3. I don't know if you follow, but there's one of the DDO community members, Matrim, makes a character builder. That's awesome. I use it for distributing character builds and stuff all the time. And he incorporated the other enhancement trees that we built with pictures and everything.
Oh.
Yeah, it says explicitly, you know, this is not real. Don't think it's real, and it uses my face as the icon.
Now we're gonna make it even more confusing.
Yeah, because now you could just add an epic destiny.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I really like. It's really cool that there are people that are able and willing to put together such tremendous amount of effort. Because like DDO's character builds are so complicated. It's crazy cool. All right.
Okay, so we got epic moment. There's got to be an epic moment in here somewhere.
Oh yeah, that's got to be. I'm gonna thinking turn into big snowman is probably what I'm thinking, but that's maybe not.
Core 0 is the million stats. So what do you get for each level?
Oh, we gotta have. This is arcane, so arcane caster levels
Yeah, it's gotta have arcane cast levels in it. Yeah.
1 through 5. Gosh, what epic destinies even have? It should probably have some sort of gives you a heroic thing from a class.
Yeah, that
This
sounds about
one,
right.
we should probably pick a class then. Like the
Well,
epic destinies aren't
and there's
based
got
off
to be
of
like a
classes.
spell-like ability, right? Like, because there's like Sunbolt spell-like ability in Exalted Angel, or do you take like a custom one, like how there's Magister has the Arcane Storm and Draconic has the Dragon things? So does this have custom spells, or do you just take a spell from Druid, like an Ice Flowers or something?
I think we can do both. I think this would be a cool way for sorcerers to get the druid spells and vice versa.
Okay, so
Um,
what if in the core or something like that we have like the big Druid spell, Ice Flowers? So like
okay.
you can't twist it. You got to be in the tree. Sort of like how Exalted Angel has Cure Mass in the cores. It kind of just like
Okay.
fits right in there.
All right, that makes sense. Let's do. As well, like abilities. I kind of want to. I mean, we gotta obviously have defensive stats.
Yeah, we need defensive stats. I don't know what kind of defensive stats. Yeah, but it can't just be Unyielding Sentinel, because Unyielding Sentinel literally has all of them in one tree.
Yeah, so that's part of why I'm thinking that maybe we just take their notes. We just take their lunch money. We just put some of the stuff from Unyielding Sentinel in there. Like if they don't have the bonus HP, players are simply not going to do it. Like 20% insightful.
Yeah, I think that's fine to take, but I think that you know how Unyielding Sentinel has like those stances, so you get like the stand against the tide and those other stances. I feel like this tree, instead of having stances that you just go in and they're passive, but maybe you would have like actives instead. So you would have like an ice armor, or you would have like a sleet armor, and you would have like would be something you have to cast and maintain.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that sounds super rad. Part of me thinks that we could probably build this with. Gosh, I don't want to just say toggles again, because that's literally what unyielding does in the cores.
Yeah, well, that's why I feel like having it as toggles. Okay. I'm trying to not make this too complicated, but imagine this is an ice, but also tank tree. So you've got some offensive spellcasting and then also tanky stuff. So what if you had spells in the tree, and then based on the spells that you cast, you build stacks of an effect? I don't know. Death Aura but Cold. I love that idea.
Is certain spells set a stance on you.
Yeah.
Like if you cast like a sleet storm from this tree, like a fancy sleet storm, then you're in sleet armor, and you cast like the CC, you're in like a different armor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, somebody said like a Death Aura
like
but
the
cold.
Water cycle.
Pardon?
These should just be like the water cycle, like, or like the 3 states of water, like ice versus water versus steam.
There's no steam in this tree.
Okay, all right. That's.
I like where you're going, but I feel like steam doesn't fit into Frozen Soul.
Okay, how about this? Ice, obviously, ice armor somewhere. Sleet armor, and then mist armor for like the 3 different things you can be in.
Okay, that sounds fine. But then you have to stance them by doing something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know either.
We're figuring this out.
Yeah, we go. It's important to note that this has to be as like mildly underwhelming as most of the other trees as well. Or do you want to just go in on go good design?
I would like to build a really cool Epic Destiny regardless of how the other Epic Destinies are currently effective or ineffective.
Okay, sounds good. A Grease Aura? You could have But we literally already did that, like a knockdown effect on an aura.
I have a terrible idea.
Okay.
I mean, this is terrible idea. Terrible idea. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things in this tree is that whenever you cast like an ice or cold spell,
Yeah.
it puts a layer of ice around you and a layer of ice where that spell detonated on the ground. And while you're standing on any ice, you have like a slidey walk animation, but you're not actually impacted. Like this isn't like a detriment.
Yeah.
And you want to stay on your ice patches
Because it
as
gives you
long as
bonus
possible.
stats.
Or something, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's
Cool
way
ice.
better. That the ice, instead of having a stance, it's just the ice entirely. That you ice stuff. So like, you know how grease sticks to the texture sticks to the ground? The ice
Yes.
texture sticks to whatever you have it on, and as long as you're on the ice texture, that's what gives you the stats.
Yes. Cool. I want to be like Frozone as much as possible.
Yes.
I want to play this tree. I want to Frozone it up. And what I like about that is that this can be both an offensive and a defensive thing because it's defensive because it happens on you automatically. So if you want to bring them to you, you're not penalized for staying put. But if it's offensive, you can run down a hallway and go, and by the time you get there, you've laid out a carpet of ice.
Okay. And so, what if all that ice stuff, because it's so central to the tree, was like the cores?
Yeah, absolutely.
As you core up, you get more ice ground powers.
Yes. Cores, buff this, and make it cooler, easier to use. This also means that like you can't accidentally twist out half of it because then like it just won't.
Because you don't have the ice ground. So if there's something in the tree that's good, so let's just say there's like ice flowers, it'll be like if you're the ice flower spell like ability, if you're in the tree, it creates the ice there, and if you're not in the tree, you just twist it, then you don't get the.
Yeah, as long as it's all locked to the cores, like we say, like your core ability says, like your ice spells do the thing.
Yeah.
Ice wall will not work in DDO because our path maps are baked into the game at compile. We cannot do dynamic pathing around dynamic objects that move.
Oh, interesting.
Monsters will run into the wall head first and be sad. They won't understand.
Just face plant against the wall. Okay, this is kind of cool.
Ice water walking. That sounds dope and really difficult to effectively use because oftentimes you would simply like to go under the water. Sounds really cool though.
If there's a way to turn it on or off.
Yeah, like water walking was only like a limited amount of time and it was pretty alright except for all the times it didn't work. This would have the exact same physics as water walking. We would just glue something to your feet. We could probably put it in there.
Well, this is in hypothetical future DDO where
that's true.
Water walking just does work.
Oh, lava walking that makes obsidian below you.
Oh yeah, so it freezes the lava, so other people could then future walk on it.
Turns it a rock, just like that one wand in Abbott.
Yep, perfect. That's sick. Okay, I love that.
We were also thinking about something, and I just wanted to float this idea out here, and this is highly theoretical.
Okay.
What if your swim skill determined how fast you moved in shallow water while your character was waiting?
So, like, while you're trying to, so that's slow wade because it's like knee-high water. Yeah. If your swim skill made that faster.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. You've got, if you're like a swamp dweller, you got good swim skills, so you'd be better at going through, mucky water. I mean, that sounds good. I like that idea.
Yeah, it was just something we were like idly had a conversation about in the office at one point. But that's definitely less likely to break things than lava walking that makes a platform below you. But we don't have to worry about that. We just have to make a cool epic destiny.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I kind of want to put shark something in here, but I think this is too cold for sharks.
And also, that's animals. This is arcane.
That's true. Well, sharks are more of like a magic fish than a regular.
Okay. So we've got the tanking element. What's some ideas about tanking element? What magic element comes here? What comes to mind when you think ice?
Debuffs.
Yeah, I think slowness. I think enchantment effects. I think maybe conjuration effects. Those kind of like come to mind.
I can't spell and
yeah.
Put people into ice AC. Minus
Oh, like the lethargy effect? Yeah, yeah. From Sorcerer. The steal that one.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like, we might as well reuse a stackable debuff when we can.
Blizzard walls? I mean, yeah, you could just take a solid fog, slap a ice effect on it, and call it Blizzard.
I do like the idea of mist and fog in this tree.
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool idea for, like, maybe the epic moment is like, oh my gosh, have you played City of Heroes?
No, but you can describe it to me.
Okay. Storm summoning in City of Heroes, the one of the toggles in there, cyclone, I think it's called, or whirlwind, basically just puts a big tornado around you, like a big hurricane,
Yeah.
and enemies get knocked down and knocked away while they're on top of you or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think about, like, that'd be pretty cool. Definitely want like some sort of ice aura, but like,
Yeah. Well, there was this suggestion a while ago, which is Death Aura but cold.
Death aura but cold. Love it. That sounds totally doable.
And I feel like if you had Death Aura but cold, you could have like a separate piece off of that. So it's like Death Aura but cold, and then next to it would be like a connected enhancement that would be like you customize your Death Aura, where either you give it like a ton of threat, so you could like tank stuff with it, or you just make it do a little bit more damage. So if you're playing as like a tank character, you want the threat thing, and if you're not, you just want the damage thing. I think it fits both.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Definitely. Let me actually look at what Annealing Sentinel gives you beyond the 20%.
Yeah. Their epic moment is 10,000 HP or temp HP.
Okay, well, obviously we gotta have ability that locks you into ice and makes you invincible while it's happening, but you can't move because you're frozen in a big block of ice. There we go.
Okay, so the big block of ice. Yeah.
Big block of ice, can't go wrong. Like, that's an easy winner.
And I guess that could be the epic moment.
That sounds like a big epic moment.
Yeah.
Maybe this taunts people and then explodes?
It's like a big intimidate, and then it does that? Yeah.
Yeah, might as well.
Actually, yeah, because if it explodes afterwards and it does spell power, like it scales up spell power somehow, then you still take it if you're playing the non-tank version.
Yeah. It also sounds like a really good, like, save your behind kind of movement.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. I like that. That's a cool idea.
Yeah, this should also give some random twist stuff too.
Yeah, need some good stuff.
Some good stuff.
Well, simple thing is like tier 1. Is it 5 across?
It is 5 across, but the fourth column is all stats.
Yeah.
So these are actually 4x6 rather than 5x5.
Okay, so 4x6. Okay, yeah. But tier 1 can have something that's like cold spell power, and it's 10, 20, 30 cold spell power.
Oh yeah, there's that same thing in Divine Crusader where it just has the spell power, I'm pretty sure.
Just put that tier 1.
That
one's already going there.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Oh, Prince of Frost?
Let me think about this.
An ice shard fan attack? That does sound cool.
It does sound cool. I want...
Because there's already Fan of Shadow Blades, but it would be ice shards?
Yeah. One more thing in the brainstorm category here. Ability that makes a big spike of ice appear from all of your ice patches, dealing damage.
Okay, sounds good.
Alright, I like cold spell power just straight up in there. That's good.
Okay.
Step 1 here is definitely put some stats.
We're just going to start building out some of the cores here. So the first one is just like the stats that tells you what the tree does, like every other thing, where it's like each level gives you whatever. Core 2 is Ice Patch 1.
Sorry, I'm putting
something.
6 ranks of ability score increases down the straight line here.
Sounds good. Patch 3.
That sounds great. Let me just make sure.
Like ice spike for a tank version should grow off players' shoulders. Well, the idea with this tree is that when you cast a spell, you create ice underneath you and ice where your spell lands, if it's an ice spell or a cold spell, and then that's the ice patch, and then it does things based on that. So you can then manipulate the ice. So you like gain bonus stats while you're standing on the ice. Ice shield. Is this con charisma int? It's con charisma int. Exactly, yeah. And then I guess each core gives you
Yes, this is like. I don't actually have a shorthand for this. It's like +1 caster level with like sorcerer, wizard, warlock, alchemist,
and bard.
artificer, bard.
You can just write arcane spellcasting classes.
Yeah.
Whether that actually functions in DDO doesn't matter.
It does. I actually, it was actually one of the first performance things I changed a few years ago. Before that was a series of like 36 effects on people. And now it just goes right through code and it reads those properties directly. The caveat is that those spellcasting increases only apply if you're casting the specific class variant. So if you, for example, are a cleric and also a favored soul, and you have 2 copies of the spell Cure Light Wounds, and you somehow manage to acquire a +1 caster level to favored soul spells, the favored soul version of Cure Light Wounds would be stronger than the cleric version, even though they are the exact same spell.
Correct.
It cares about which variant you're using.
Correct. That's why every time when somebody says, do you think that Sorcerer and Artificer would make a good mixed caster? No, because the Sorcerer caster level stuff does not apply to Artificer. That's not how it works.
I really wish it kind of did. I really wish
it would be great if it did, yeah.
I wish we standardized stuff like caster levels across elemental or thematic barriers rather than class barriers. But it's one of those things where like that is, like it or not, a very fundamental pillar of how 3.5's casting classes work.
Yep.
So
okay,
it's also one of those things that require a lot of refactoring. Anyway,
question. This is a genius idea from chat. Okay. You know how Fate Dark Illusions lets you summon a Shadow Blade, and Druid lets you summon a Flame Blade?
Right.
What if this lets you summon an Ice Shield?
Ice Shield. Well, I put all that effort in to make Frost Blades.
Yeah, but this is Ice Shield. So you summon a physical shield with the shield properties.
The only reason I don't like that is because I have not so secret plans to literally make the Druid spell Frostblade.
Well, yeah, but this is a shield though, and this is also made up. Like the shield wouldn't have offensive stats; it would have like weirdo defensive shield ice stats.
That's fair. I don't know. Part of me wonders if there's like a usability problem with that, in which like players would rather have a shield that they can like put augments in, you know what I mean, and would qualify for set bonuses. But at the same time,
well,
like
it's not a necessary thing. It's just like somewhere in tier 3. It's like filler.
That'd be pretty cool.
Like imagine somebody hits 20 and they like didn't do keep on the Borderlands and they don't have the gear, so they just have an ice shield.
Might as well.
That would.
Do you want it like, because there's the option of always like single or dual wield? Are the options here like small shield, large shield?
Probably just large shield, tower shield.
Large shield, tower shield. Like that's what I'm looking at chat here. Like enchant current shield. We can do a thing. Yeah, we can do a thing where you cast a spell and it puts a buff on your shield, and then the shield literally gets the ice decal.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. As long as you can have a shield that literally looks like ice.
That's why I'm saying I'd rather actually just make an ability that literally makes your shields turn to ice, and that way, depending on which model, it would look really cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because then people can customize it and make really sick visual sets. That sounds good to me.
Just put this up here. Ice shield ability turns your shield to ice. I don't know. What do the other arcane epic destinies give you in cores? Should probably be +50 spell power per core as well. Yeah.
Yeah, 40
Ooh,
spell.
40 spell points.
Yeah, well, because it's 50 spell points usually, but this is a hybrid, so 40 spell points.
All right, this tooltip is going to get really stupidly complicated, because
And
we're gonna have to split this in half because Epic Destinies do this somewhere.
Yep.
Each core ability in this tree you have gives you 40 spell points.
it's actually written as HP. That's hilarious. That's right. Spell points, melee power, hit points, intimidate. Ranged power? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Might as well. I don't know.
Wait.
It's more that there's a distinction between levels of Epic Destiny and core abilities.
Yeah.
We need to give the caster levels on subsequent levels in the core so that you only get 5 total rather than 6.
The Epic Destinies give you 6.
What?
Yeah, Epic Destinies give you 6. They don't give you 5.
What? That's ridiculous.
I don't know what to tell you. They give you 6, not 5.
What, that's 5 and 6 are different numbers. That's preposterous.
Well, there's 6 cores, and you get 6 caster levels.
No, Fatesinger definitely gives you 5. Does Draconic just give you? Oh my God, Fatesinger gives you 5, and Lethargy give you 6. I've done a whole bunch of math wrong across my entire life. All right, that's good to know. That's good to know.
Oh, I've been there.
Does Fatesinger not just give you? Did Fatesinger just only give you 5?
I don't know who last touched Fatesinger.
That was me. I don't understand. I would have to have figured this out when I was actually going through and redoing how those caster levels work. So I'm going to assume that when I did that several years ago, I knew what I was talking about. And current little Bell has no idea, not a clue.
Yeah.
All right, good to know.
Yeah, exactly. Starting things at 0, it ruined everything.
Yeah, that's a 0 and 1 are different numbers in my head for some reason.
Okay, so this is literally what you get from Unyielding Sentinel. So it's 40 spell points, 4 melee power, 20 hit points, and 1 intimidate per level. So would we want to change that for this tree?
I don't think so. Okay, so Unyielding Sentinel says it only gives you 5 because it's each level, and then it specifies that including level 0 because 0 is not a level. I think the tooltips on those Epic Destinies are just straight up wrong.
I guarantee you it gives you the points at 0 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Or and 5, sorry. It should be 1 to 6, but it's 0 to 5 for some reason.
It is 0. Is it 0 to 5? I don't even want to know.
Yeah, it's core 0 to core 5, but for some reason the Epic Destinies themselves have 6 tiers that correspond with 0 to 5, but there's 6. It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
That's really dumb. All right, I don't even
want to know. It is 6 cash levels in Fatesinger.
It is 6 cash.
Yeah.
What?
Chat following up.
Impossible. All right, whatever. I guess I'll
Okay.
I'll go back in time and stop myself from that happening. That's okay.
So now here's the question. So just this is how the framework works. Is it okay to do the spell points, melee power, HP, or intimidate, or should this be something that's slightly different?
I don't want to give melee power in this tree at all. I'll be quite honest.
All right, so let's skip it. So just replace melee power with universal spell power. Cold spell power.
Let's do universal spell power because it's supposed to be trying to be broad here.
Sure.
I don't know, 3 universal spell power per core.
Fatesinger is 10.
Well, I made Fatesinger and I don't like it. So
yeah. So
all right, 5.
Yeah, 5. I would say it's 5. Like it's not a DPS tree, so do 5. Because if you were getting 4 melee power before, 5 is not really comparable, but yeah, that'd be fine. 5 is good. Yeah, so that seems about right. Default value code in 0, and it just made it all the way through.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Perfect. Okay, so that's core 0. It's fine. You got ice is nice. Perfect. So ice patch 1. So when you cast any spells that
Do you want a hand wording this here?
Cold damage or have... Is there an ice descriptor in the code? Because there's
we
like...
can make them. We have an arbitrary... We have a way of tagging any spells with any possible thing we have. Like Favorite Soul cares about things that have smiting in them, even though that's not a thing that a player would ever see.
Is there a way... This is obviously just reaching, but would there be a way at some point in the eventual future to have like a visual representation of that?
Of which spells are tagged which?
Yeah. Because like as an example, you might have a scenario where you don't realize a spell actually gets tagged a certain way. So somebody might not realize that like, Sleet Storm is tagged as a water spell, so it's actually a higher caster level than because it doesn't do cold damage.
Yes, and it may not actually be that difficult. Like those tags are enums, and we can just make a lookup list of like, a string table associated with every single enum value, and then as part of tooltip generation, when we go through, because it's like, we already have to make some of that work for like meta magics. You know what I mean? Like we don't write that in. That's a dynamically generated part of the tooltip. So yes, we actually probably could.
So any spells that have like the cold or water tag on them?
I would actually phrase this a little bit more esoterically if you don't mind me jumping.
Phrase away. I'm a novice. Like Sork trees with the resist spells. Exactly. Like you wouldn't think that it would be on the resist spells, but then all of a sudden you can be a fire sorcerer level 8 and casting 11th level resists.
I actually would rather just say this is a cold spell thing. Like that's cold is the D&D element and does encompass water.
Yeah, for sure. Cold's fine. That works for me. Whenever you cast a cold spell that does damage, all enemies in line of sight take a DC 100 charisma check or die.
I like it.
Not powerful enough. Because what about enemies that aren't in line of sight? Unplayable. But if this is a tank tree, should not be PRR and MRR instead of melee power. There'll be PRR and MRR in the tree, but for the cores, they're pretty... Like, the Epic Destiny cores are pretty straightforward. All enemies in current instance die with no save. Yeah, but then what about enemies in other instances? When you got raids.
Honestly, quite underpowered. That's a 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
This base patch.
Currently loaded in the server. That might work. But then they all die. You still have Reapers that spawn from everything, and that's a problem. Come on, guys. Yeah, it gives you movement speed. Yeah. Which is a great idea. And you have a cool slippy slidey effect.
Exactly. Like a cool Frozone inspired-ish thing.
Yeah.
I think starting right here at the core 1, and then we build off of like an offensive or a defensive and an offense thing in 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So we avoid getting really, really cluttered here. Ice Patch 2.
Cast it twice. We don't want the game to hold your hand. Yeah. Flowers. No, I want SLA. Auto Luke's Freezing Sphere. Spelling.
Yeah. All right. What defensive bonus here?
What defensive bonus? So what do you get while you're skating on the ice?
Let's actually look at unyielding here, because we're trying to like fake unyielding. Yeah. You know what I mean?
In unyielding, people only use ever the Vigor of Battle unless they need to be immune to knockdown, at which point they use Stand Against the Tide.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can see why. +5 Sacred bonus and natural armor isn't really
yeah.
what I would consider
yeah, well, because Unbreakable gives you DR10, which is like when monsters hit you for 5,000 or 12,000, DR10 stops being good.
Oh, that's even worse. It's actually objectively worse than the natural armor.
Yeah, it's literally just straight up worse. And then Heed No Pain gives you 20 PRR as well.
Okay. All right, well, 20 PRR is not nothing.
Okay.
Part of me thinks we should just take the higher value here and see, like, this is like +5 AC, +20 PRR. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What if? Can you only enter your stance when you're on your patch?
In my mind, being on the patch was the stance thing. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah. So the patch is the stance. So then it would give while skating on the patch, you get PRR, MRR,
Yeah, let's just do like plus 20 pure and MMR and call it. That's chonk enough.
and like some type of cold resistance maybe because it's a cold tree.
Oh,
That
this
fits.
should just give rather than intimidate, this should straight up give 5% cold resistance.
5% cold
Like,
absorption.
Yeah.
So you're in the
we
tree, you just automatically
someplace
get
else.
30% cold absorb.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, I like the alternating SLAs here with the ice patch stuff. I think it's really elegant. I like it.
Yeah, and then you've also got a sorcerer, wizard SLA, ice, and then you have a druid SLA, ice.
Yeah, so you like no matter which type of ice caster you are, you can actually branch out a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. You shouldn't have to stand on the stance and then press a button to activate the stance. I agree, but
Yeah, no, like you've already jumped through enough hoops.
yeah, but there will be stuff in the tree where it's like if you cast this on ice, it's X. Oh, does fire melt the ice? Is it like grease that explodes?
Ooh, that's a really good point.
It should, right? The ice should melt.
The ice should melt. Yes. That being said, if we think about it, grease and fire, technically speaking, is actually kind of a good thing in certain situations because you actually want to burn people.
Yeah.
What can we think of a way to make that happen with your ice spells?
Well, it's the same idea. It's just steam.
I remember you saying there's no steam anywhere.
Well,
in this
because you're not doing it. You're not supposed to be incendiary. Like it's not your own steam.
I don't know. Part of me thinks this should be one of those things where if you hit it with a lightning spell, it turns into mist or something or fog. But like that's like for a later. That's just like an aspect of this cold thing, and rather than like a buff or a enhancement. You know what I mean?
Well, I was more thinking of like it's a problem that you have to solve. So hypothetically, imagine you're doing a raid boss, and the raid boss casts Fireball regularly. If you're tanking this thing and you want to be on your ice patch, you have to be continually recreating the ice patch.
Yeah.
Versus like it's more active versus the passive component of unyielding. That was kind of my idea. Not so much that it has a positive effect, but that there are monsters that can disrupt your tanking, and so then it's not always the best option.
That makes sense. I like that there in our game we can have certain builds be better or worse at tanking certain monsters.
Yeah.
Because it means that like as content continues to become more varied, there cannot be a best build.
That and also it's cool because the Epic Destinies, as they're incarnated right now, you can just swap from one to the other. So if you get to a boss and it's like, okay, well, on this it's Fireman, the fire boss person.
Whoa, you're leaking stuff from Saltmarsh.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to leak Fireman. But then you get in there.
R.I.P. Fireman, too soon.
Yeah, I gotta make a new one. Then you're like, okay, well, Frozen Soul may not be as good here because my ice is going to melt, so therefore play Unyielding.
All right, well, I think it makes a lot of sense. We can just like a patch of like whatever. Fire spells will melt a patch of ice, and ice patches last a minute by default.
Yeah, sure, that sounds fine.
There we go.
How much lag would that cause if every time you cast a spell you created a patch of ice?
Ooh, there should be a cooldown on creation.
Oh, so you can only create a patch of ice like every 10 seconds. That would make more sense. There's not a Fireman rare encounter in Saltmarsh will be extremely disappointed. Uh-oh.
I get Saltmarsh and find out. It could be anything.
Yeah, you gotta buy it.
The
number of patches?
Actually, that's a good point. We're already limited by your spell casting as far as rate of return here. So what we should do is secretly this has like a 2-second cooldown or something. Or like a 1-second cooldown, enough to prevent like a multi-hit from generating 15. Say like you can only have patches at a time.
Well, 10 ice patches, because when you cast a spell, one at your feet and where the spell is.
Those 6 ice patches.
Okay, sure. Yeah. The latest one overwrites. Okay.
Yes. All right, I like that because that's like a whole new way to play, and is patently ridiculous.
Yeah.
I also think that these should be pretty big. Like these shouldn't be like
They should be grease sized.
they should be like I would actually even say bigger than Grease. Like I want it to be feasible that you could have a full run animation with this, so it can't be small.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But all right, what about like a debuff? Like obviously they have to slip and fall. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think that's just kind of an obvious choice here. What other thing would this do?
It could make monsters more vulnerable to cold damage.
That's fair. That's fair.
What else could it do? It could. There's always supposed to be some type of slowing effect. So it could apply every second a monster stands in there, every 2 seconds, they get a stack of lethargy.
Yeah.
Conjuration create ice rink? Exactly. Well, the issue about the patches is, like, imagine a scenario where you're doing, like, the Dryad and the Demigod, and you're all over the place.
That's why I want them to be big.
Yeah.
Like I don't want you to have a problem finding ice patch for this because it's like kind of technically free. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want them to be big. But you shouldn't just be able to carpet the whole map. Like.
Cross-based prestige class to show you after this? Oh, please do. Is there a way to make patches not get spammed out by ES Carcerai lock? Yeah, because they're not spells. Enlighten's like warlocks, they have to cast an ice spell. So like a warlock wouldn't be able to make a patch because they're not casting spells. Because the blaster spell like sort of things. They're not the same.
I think the cleaves will work.
No, because they're not typed as a cold. They're typed as light damage.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because they would add cold damage, but the base spell wouldn't have that as a type.
No, that makes sense. That's exactly how that would work. Zamboni monster. Oh, geez, that'd be terrible.
We gotta wait for Saltmarsh.
Yeah, Saltmarsh Zamboni rare. You heard it here first, folks.
Okay, so this is cool. I like the core concept of the tree. So that makes sense to me. So
definitely gonna have. I'm putting the tier 5 ice walking in here.
It's a tier 5 ice walk. Okay.
Okay, you can't twist this. This is you got to be in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What on the list can't you twist? Because a lot of stuff you could probably twist. Like I feel like ice armor, you could definitely twist ice armor.
Tier 5 and 6 are the if it's not in the cores of tier 5 and 6, then like.
Oh, for sure. That's what I'm thinking. Like, what would be stuff that you're okay with twisting, and stuff that you're like, this seems like you can't twist it. That's why like the 2 spell like abilities here, I feel like it would be better not to twist them. You can still have other cool, unique spell like abilities. So, like, I was thinking maybe kind of like a Horde Wilting, like a spell like ability that does or that does damage specifically to like water elementals and plants.
That'd be really interesting. I feel like Horde Wilting is so narrow, but in such a good way.
Yeah.
We gotta put I have to like dirty copy the Unyielding Sentinel hit points, otherwise people just won't use it. That's just straight up in tier 5. Like gotta put that in there.
Yeah, you need the hit points for sure.
Feet automatically freeze.
Ice Storm spell like ability? No. Yeah, toggle. Yeah, that's a good one. No. Because I want ice armor to be like either a buff or something that you cast on yourself. It doesn't have to be like necessarily a spell. I was thinking like mage armor, but with extra steps. Or maybe less steps. So like ice armor would be like I'm just trying to jot down ideas. Instead of raw HP, it's temp HP equals 20% of your max HP every 10 seconds. Well, stanch gives you temp HP based off of your maximum.
Doesn't it also like permanently take chunks out of your con?
It reduces your, I think, health. I think it takes chunks out of your con. How does stanch work?
I don't know. It says warlock ability. I'm pretty sure.
It is.
Yeah, it's minus 3% maximum hit points, which stacks all the way down until you have 1% left.
Right. But what if instead of 20% health, it was like you had a regenerating 20% temp HP?
What?
So you know how it's 20% insight bonus to maximum hit points, right?
Okay.
Because you have to have that because you're a tank.
Right.
But what if to make this tree different, instead of it being 20% bonus temporary to maximum hit points, it was every few seconds you got, no, never mind, people wouldn't take that. It's still not good enough. I like the idea of temp HP, something that gives you temp HP on a percentage of your health. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's like something we kind of run into sometimes in DDO, in which sometimes you just gotta give them stats.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you just gotta. Gosh, all right. So we got Ice Walker here, in which it's a toggle, obviously. So if you don't want to do this, you can turn it off. You freeze water beneath you, make solid ground, and if you ever leave contact with it, it will melt after 5 seconds. So you can jump under the water and it will freeze solid. But as soon as you take a step, that next like off of it, that next thing will form, and the first one has a 5 second timer. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you can create an ice path that people can follow you. Is the
And
Ice Walker? Does the Ice Walker also? Oh, that tier 6 is the upgrade to lava walking.
Yes.
Got it. I do like the idea of the ice armor spell being a buff that is lost when you take damage. But would that be a passive or an active? I don't know. Would it work in Abbott and Lord of Blades? I think Lord of Blades hits you even if you're not touching it. So I'm gonna say maybe not Lord of Blades.
My thinking is that I'd rather this work everywhere, and then we just go back in, and if you're doing this on top of those cursed water, the cursed ice also hurts you.
Oh, because it's cursed ice. Of course.
Yes, it's like all you've done is made it evil ice.
Yeah,
so like
that would make sense.
and now it's oh no, it's electrified ice. So like it's still not good.
Yeah.
I might as well write that in here. Water such.
Look through our ideas.
There we go with like 5 exclamation points, so you know it's serious.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what else do we have in this ideas bin here?
So in the ideas bin, we've got enchantments.
We should definitely put some DCs in here.
Yeah, like what about enchantment DCs 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2? Because it's not Magister, so like 1, 2. So like tier 2 is like +1/+2 enchantment DCs prerequisite. Is it spell focus? Enchantment.
There's a lot going on here. So part of me thinks so. Like Magister gives you a buff in, I think it's tier 2 and then tier 5 are where the DCs are that aren't in the cores. Tier 5 is cast level, maximum cast level, which is effective DCs. Oh, and also DCs. Part of me thinks it's actually not even a problem if this is just +1, 2, 3 DCs and like put it in tier 3 or something.
Well, I was just kind of pairing it with in like Draconic Incarnation, how there's like precise evocation where it's just either evocation or conjuration you can pick, and you need the spell focus for it, and it gets 1 and 2. It could be like a tier 3 and then do 1, 2, 3 instead.
It's better to like. I honestly like Draconics in this. That's not a good. or not a bad thing, but if we're doing this, we should probably have enchantment or
Enchantment or
evocation.
what would be what's ice? Yeah, transmutation. Sure, that seems fine.
Let me just 1 second here.
Yeah, for sure. Enchantment or transmutation.
Transmutation. I mean, like I also kind of want to say this should support people if they're trying to do cold damage for damage. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this could be enchantment, transmutation, and evocation.
Sure.
Quite honestly, this should probably be like I don't really think any of this is enchantment.
There's nothing enchantment in here. I just thought ice and enchantment kind of mixed together, so it could be transmutation, evocation.
Yeah, because transmutation and ice make a lot of sense. I'm with you on that.
All right, so I'll just change this to evocation. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Because burst of glacial wrath is also evocation. So, okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Cold casting. Ah, there we go. Ice armor, horrid bolting. Where do you put this shield enchantment thing?
Shield enchantment, tier 2.
Tier 2, easy peasy.
Depends on how good it is. Is it good? Because if it's good, it should be not twistable with
I think it'd be neat. Like the amount of people that are gonna want more defensive focuses on their shield, anything, anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't really think this is as deadly as like what you can twist defensively out of unyielding sentinel for shields.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Enchants your shield to be made of magical ice. Adds a cool mist.
And the 3 armors.
What does this do, though?
Oh, I have no idea. So what does the ice shield do? It gives your shield +1, and it changes the type to ice. And
I don't know. Maybe it's like your shield, because like Epic Destinies give out a whole bunch of weird item chances, things or whatever. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So this should just maybe pick a few things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like straight up, this could be like, I don't know, +15 ice bonus to PRR. You know what I mean?
Ice bonus.
Like I don't even know.
Yeah, sounds great. No, I love it.
Like who knows? Really, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, just make an ice bonus. Will
Yeah,
enchant
like
shield, Would enchant shield be usable for druids to use metal shields? Oh, that'd be sick! Because you could enchant it and the shield is now ice and not metal.
that actually would work. It's straight up like material type changes to ice.
Yeah, because it changes
Like,
the material type. So you would have to like start in non-elemental form, and then you would enchant it and it would become ice form. Oh, what an idea!
that's solid. That's a super solid twist.
God, I love that one. That's a great idea. Anything with ice thorns? Not currently. Oh, there's got to be tier 6 ice spike. Like your big payoff damage spell. So if you want to take the tank stuff.
Ice spikes burst from every is.
Those casters name reflect spells. Ice cream for healing. Oh, you.
That's great. So Epic Destinies have some weird damage things, so I think it should do like 2d 100.
It's just something dumb and hard to understand.
It's really silly. Cold.
Sometimes you roll 2, sometimes you roll 200.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It should be like if this were really an Epic Destiny, it'd be like 2d 100 cold and like 1d 60 piercing. But let's make this a real. I would say more. I feel like there's definitely a place for very damaged dice, like
Yeah.
in Shirai, when the whole thing is like a high roll, low roll, and it averages out to be a totally normal number, but like those spikes are really exciting.
Yep.
It's really like, I don't know, cold and piercing damage. Also stuns with a like a DC 17 plus.
What's up with DC 17?
I don't know. I think that's the DC of a level 7 spell.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that, like, I'll be quite honest here. I'm gonna just kind of tip our hand here. One of the big reasons for doing this Epic Destiny thing is that we can put DC 20s on all of the abilities that happen at level 20. So it's like, 20 plus ability score modifier plus transmutation.
So you want to just follow? You want to just do that? Well, because so I'm just looking at Draconic Incarnation as like an example, and it's 20 plus half character level plus int or charisma plus evocation or transmutation.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because it would end up at 35 rather than DC 30 at 30.
Yeah.
But weirdly enough, I kind of would prefer that to be a third character level. Or like just set it to be DC 30 if we want it to end up at 30. You know what I mean?
Okay. Why don't you could also do some weirdo shit and do DC 20 plus transmutation plus evocation. Just add them together.
I don't know.
Which is a bad idea. You should not. That should not be in the game. But yeah.
It's more like I just don't think we can do that.
Also,
like,
intelligence.
Oh, might be. I guess my thinking is like if we wanted this to be based off of a level 30 thing, because it's an Epic Destiny and those are our level 30 thing, then we should just say 30. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or just do character level, which literally works all the time.
I have a base DC, otherwise the DC system breaks. I also don't know if we can do transmutation or evocation, but that's not for me to figure out.
It's a multi-selector.
Oh, obviously, I spike and then secretly this is a multi-selector. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Multi-selectors are the greatest. You just get to do both things for twice the amount of work.
No, it's part of the cool parts about this game is like you can just make an alternative. All right, let's fill out some of these bottom ones here. We gotta have some sort of like save plus skill things.
What does I'm just using Unyielding Sentinel as as a sick baseline. So tier 1, it has threat generation, saves, shield bonuses, and the divine energy resistance. So right now we have cold spell power.
All right, I think we should do threat gen.
Yeah, threat gen is good.
Saves in tier 1.
Yeah.
Got to put it in there. And we have the cold spell power. That's something wiggity whack, just like divine energy resistance. And then we should have a generic defense thing.
Okay, so
instead of the shield specific bonus,
it would be called like chill something, and it would give you some type of good defensive stat.
Yes, probably some like this is like actually we can do this right now. This would be like cold metal, and it's like plus 2, 4, 6 natural armor. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And it gives you cold resist.
Yeah, maybe like 5, 10, 15. There we go.
Fire shield, cold mass. Whoa, that's too. I don't know about that one.
That's pretty cool for a tier 4.
That's twistable.
Yeah, for a tier 4.
All right.
And compared to like plus 30% damage, which is what Sense Weakness is.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. Sense Weakness is 30% damage, and Martial Him is better than most class capstones.
Yeah. All right. Fire shield, cold mass.
Go. Is evocation. This one's transmutation. Perfect.
There we go.
Yeah, fire shield, cold mass. That's actually a great idea.
I feel like we've got a lot of actives here already, so I don't want to add any more.
Yeah, need some passives. Need some passives for sure.
I want to do a cold casty lethargy thing somewhere in tier 3.
And just literally rip lethargy from sorcerer.
Yes.
Cold metal jacket. I don't know about that one.
I like that.
Do you want me to change it?
No. I just like it. Your cold spells apply 2 stacks of.
What about if the threat gen was only with spells?
I like that. I like that.
What is that called in DDO? Is
Oh,
that just spell threat?
yeah. Spell threat generated would be it.
Cool.
All right, so here's what I got. Chilled spellcasting. Your cold spells apply 1 to 2 stacks of lethargy to your enemies. Cold spells that damage enemies with maximum lethargy stacks have a chance to be
Frozen. Yeah.
solid, no save. So you build up to just a lock him in ice. And this also means that if you have the thing from Sorcerer, then it's actually just stacking out faster, so it's better.
Right, that makes sense.
Rather than a replacement outright.
And yeah, we have a lot of actives, so we gotta pretty much be like, okay, this is maybe. It really depends. Unyielding Sentinel has some rows that are all active and some rows that are all passive.
Yeah, like it's really a different era of design, and I feel like we in the team have learned quite a lot since these were put into the game. It's part of what we're so excited for, like this revamp.
Yeah, out of the for 24 points, there's 9 actives.
All right.
In that tree. I don't know if that's appropriate to where we should be looking at. Applies debuff.
I think it really depends. Like if we're looking at this in the ecosystem of the current Epic Destinies, then I think really any amount is probably fine because they're kind of all over the place. It also depends whether or not ice armor is a toggle or not.
I was thinking it would be a passive, so you just pick your armor. That's like a multi-selector, and then ice armor is when monsters attack you, they get a stack of lethargy. And then sleet armor would be something, and mist armor would be something.
Okay, hear me out. This is really, really silly, and I don't think it's that strong compared to the embody this things. When enemies strike you in combat, they get a stack of lethargy.
Uh-huh. A debuff that makes enemies take a penalty to damage if they hit anyone other than you. I mean, that's kind of intimidating with extra steps.
All right. Here we out. Sleet armor. When you strike enemies in combat. Mist armor is when enemies miss.
No, it's just a passive. It's on It's mist. It's just nearby enemies.
All right. This is my pitch.
Wait.
Ice armor, when enemies hit you 100% of the time, they get a stack. Sleet armor, when you hit enemies, they have a chance to get a stack. And mist armor, when they miss you, they have a chance to get a stack.
Because it's mist armor? Because they're mist?
Yeah, mist armor. So it's like different ways to apply lethargy if you're not a spellcaster.
Would mist armor work on things? This is future hypothetical DDO, but would that work if a monster misses you due to displacement or something else? Like displacement dodge?
Yes, anything that would follow that flow. So mist via concealment, by armor class, etc., etc., etc.
Okay, that seems kind of cool.
These could also give different, like this could just give, like, I don't know, plus 15 HP, and this one gives you, like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
max, max stack of lethargy means they turn into a DMV employee.
I had a really interesting time getting my car set up. Like, I just moved to a different state, and it turns out what I had to do, I didn't tell you this, is you have to, the clerk's office is closed You just have to call them anyway and leave them a detailed message about how you'd like to have your car set up, and then they'll call you back and tell you to leave your documents in the Amazon Dropbox thing that isn't labeled for documents, and then they'll give you your car title.
That sounds exactly right.
Yeah, it was honestly, it felt like a drug deal. Like it. I don't know. Maybe this doesn't give you anything because it's like the offensive one.
Or gives you like hit chance. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a tier 3. Like I want people to be able to twist this in and be like, neat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Plus 3 MMR. Love it.
Sure. Sounds good.
What else are we missing here? How sold are you on the Horde Wilting SLA?
It doesn't need to be there. It was not horde wilting. It's like something that mimics that like creatures, like you basically freeze water-based creatures. It's
Okay.
even more specific and more useless than horde wilting, which seems really good for an epic destiny because it reminds me of stuff like judgment and other like super hyper specific useless
those.
abilities.
Hear me out. What if this is called, we just call this right here, we call this Steel Heat. And this is an insta-kill that only works on fire creatures, like fire elementals.
Oh, cool. What a great idea.
Um,
And it's tier 4, so you can twist it if you want to have this very hyper-specific ability.
exactly. If you're somehow, for some reason, running Heroic Chains of Flame, and you just really want to get rid of some fire elementals.
Yeah.
Oh
Or
my
that
God.
one quest, the magma must flow in Sharn. And
Yeah, or fire caves.
Yeah.
All right, fire creature, just dies, Like literally, this is an insta kill.
That's amazing. Fire creature dies, no save.
Yeah, I don't think this needs any more explanation.
Yeah, no save.
All right, one more active tier 6, and I think we should leave a blank spot otherwise. Tier 6 would be like epic moment,
Ice block.
ice block.
Will it work in THTH? No, those are undead. Doesn't count.
They are fire undead. It might work.
Yeah, you have to go in and try it, and then find out it only works on the orange names and not the regular ones.
Yeah, no. Let me know if this works.
Yeah. And then you bug report it, and then it gets changed so it only works on the flame skulls.
Oh come on, that's we don't fix bugs. That's for legal reasons that was a joke.
But a passive that it's quenched all your cold spells? It's more water than cold.
Yeah, it's also a raid item from Feywild.
Yeah.
That actually works now. I was able to figure that out. There's like a really classic bug where if, theoretically speaking, the trinket had been able to cast spells, it would do the quench. But it needs to be on you so that if you cast the spells, you do the quench. Our on-spell cast stuff is really finicky like that. It's not like a 2-step removed thing, it's a 3-step removed thing. So it happens occasionally. Turn yourself into an invincible and immobile.
Oh, and Jackson Net, welcome back to the stream team. Appreciate the support. 4 months. Appreciate that.
Nice. Block frozen ice. You cannot be damaged or moved in this state. My enemies are driven to attack you. After, what's a good time for this? I want to say like
should be a short term.
The ice explodes outwards, dealing. I don't know what's a good number here. I don't want to use 20d10 over again.
Number of damage.
10d20.
That's awesome. Yeah. 10d20s exactly.
Exactly. Well, it's not 20d10. It's completely different.
Yeah, and it has and this skill is a 10-minute cooldown.
Oh yeah, easy.
10-minute cooldown.
Cooldown 10 minutes.
Once per rest.
We could bump this down to maybe 4. You know.
Once per rest.
once per. I mean, that's the thing though, is like this does literally make you invincible, and therefore is probably going to be used to cheat.
Exactly. So
Um, so this should actually have a shorter cooldown of like 3 minutes. Usable once per rest. Should this bring you back from the dead, you think?
back from the dead?
I don't know. Like as a cold zombie.
That's
I'm thinking out loud.
uh,
I'm
like
leaning
I
towards no, but
I'm not feeling the cold zombie.
alright.
Will have a cooldown if you have to rest. Because sometimes you need it.
It's more like if you use it and then you rest, you can't immediately use it again. We use things like that. Oh yeah, this is kind of like Dreamscape. So it's like it
But
does make you invincible for several seconds. It's probably fine.
but this isn't intimidate though.
Well, it's also got 3 times the cooldown.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably safe. It's probably safe for me. All right, what are we missing here? Looks like we have 1 or 2 empty spaces on every tier, which is not bad.
Yeah.
Um,
So now we need some things that are either borderline useless to fill up the tree, and also synergy with the ice ground. So I was thinking there would be something that's like frozen veins in like tier 3, and cold spells cast while on the. Is it called ice ground? What's it called? Icy patch.
I think it makes an ice patch.
As well on an ice patch are cast at plus 1, 2, 3 caster levels.
Solid.
Is it just cast levels or cast level / max cast level?
I just don't like our caster level system at all, but it should just be regular caster levels, even though that is not going to do anything for a variety of spells. Okay. Actually, hear me out, because I'm so dissatisfied with caster levels. What if cold spells will cast on an ice patch are cast... Hear me out here. Oh, this just broke the whole Google Doc.
Yeah, by the way, you can always, I forgot to mention this, you can always use the bot command when we do this to actually see the tree yourself if you want.
There we go. So if you cast this while in the patch, it's got a 15% shorter cooldown.
Nice. That sounds good.
But otherwise, it's like a regular cooldown. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, that can connect to the next one up.
Ooh.
So you can have, like, tiers of it.
One. That's just a good idea. What if this one is the caster level one? And it's also max caster level, because it's tier 4.
Yeah, sounds good. And it's also, because it has a limitation, you have to be on the ice patch.
Yeah.
Is this going to cost you 6 points, though?
Yeah.
Or is this just going to be a 2-pointer?
I think this is going to... I mean, it's going to be like a 1, 2, 3, and it's going to cost 1 AP per rank.
Yeah, that makes sense.
How do you even word this? Cold spells will cast while on an ice patch with plus 1, 2, 3...
Caster level and maximum caster level.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Can we have more?
Icy Heart. Bam.
Icy Heart. Perfect. Heal from negative with 50% healing rate. This isn't really a negative tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a... What else do we got at the top here? Druid sorcerer abilities, casting thing, heroic thing. Oh, we need some stupid heroic thing to put in here.
Let's think about, like, what do, part of me wants to literally put in a wild shape in tier 5, like an icy toggle, you know what I mean?
But then we have another active.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what heroic thing we could do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is tough. This is where you get to like the end of it where because this has to work with every class because it's like an epic destiny.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be some weird moments. There could definitely be a passive in tier 6 that is just like, what if there's a passive in tier 6 that gave you 10% slashing and piercing absorption, but made you take 10% more bludgeoning damage?
I like that a lot, but if you could put that in tier 5, it's you actually sort of can't afford more than 3 tier 6s.
Yeah, for sure.
And like both tier 5 and tier 6 are both untwistable, and in my mind, I guess they kind of operate as a very long tier 5 because they're technically exclusive.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense.
This would be really cool.
Ice Storm.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Minus 10% damage. There we go. Cold skin.
Just put cold in front of everything. It works.
Cold, frigid fortitude. Ice Walker.
Yeah. Yep.
No, naming things when you have a theme is really easy. All right, I'm going back to tier 1 here. I like the spell threat. I think that's solid.
Saves are... Well, it could be just like plus 1, 2, 3 saves versus spells.
Misty Dodge. Oh, yeah.
Oh, Misty Dodge. Saves versus spells and also dodge. Sure. Yeah, that sounds great.
Just like if you wanted to twist it.
Yeah. Okay, so this isn't connected to anything. And neither is this.
God, I've been almost sneezing for at least an hour now, and I don't understand what's happening to me. I feel like
You're breaking down.
Some sort of supernatural force. They've cursed me for my hubris. All right, we need some good tier 2s here, just some real solid stuff. Part of me thinks this should just be like, we should just give straight up like plus HP, like just a big pile of HP.
Yeah, that could be fine. Oh, there needs to be an your weapon deals cold damage.
That just breaks everything, all the time.
No. Like
oh,
like add like a D6 cold damage or something.
That's
like exactly. It's got to be unyielding sentinel level. Like listen to this one. You'll like this one. If you are good, weapons you equip gain pure good, dealing a D6 good damage versus non-good targets. That's a tier 4 right there.
I feel like this has turned into Let's Dunk on the Epic Destinies, and like I get it, especially because we've dedicated so much time internally to revamping the entire system.
Yeah.
I just hope you understand why I can't really participate on that front.
Oh, for sure. But so that's what I'm saying. What if there was a thing that is like your weapon deals an additional 3d6 cold damage?
That's too strong. You gotta knock that down to 1d6.
Yeah,
maybe 1d6.
1d6. No, 1d6 against only fire creatures.
That's solid. I think it should be a little bit more narrow, in which it's like living fire creatures rather than potentially undead. But I like that. What about we just call this like weaponry? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What if
main hand weapon? Let's do 2d6 actually.
Yeah.
Damage and against fire enemies deals 2d6 bane damage.
Yeah.
There we go. It's actually not quite bad. It's like the lack of scaling more than anything that I think hurts some of our older Epic Destinies. Like they're just built for a very different era. I am really excited about this overhaul.
Yeah. Like I said, this tree is like actually very good, and it has easy places where you're like, okay, stats.
Yeah, we just basically have like a middle row of stats we should throw in here. Like this should just be like Frozen Bulwark, and hear me out here. 30, 60, 100 hit points.
So it's a tier 2 twistable 100 life.
Yes.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, just easy peasy. I feel like this could be a really easy, big old chunk of MMR in tier 3.
MRR, yeah. Next to the Frozen Veins and the Chilled Spellcasting. Yeah, because you got the Ice Armor, you got the Frozen Veins. So, sounds good.
I don't know what this could be called.
Freezing Guard somewhere? Oh, that could be in
Freezing
there.
Guard?
Like, Freezing Guard could literally give you MRR, and then at rank 3 also gives you Freezing Guard. So when monsters hit you, there's a small chance they have to make a save and become frozen. Oh, but that's already an Ice Armor.
Yeah, that's kind of what this is like a really, like, it was already a really advanced thing. So this could be like MMR and then also something else defensive-wise.
Mm-hmm. It could be Guard. Literally Guard. Monsters attack you, they take ice damage. Oh, there you go. Ooh, Fortification? Ooh.
Oh,
Frozen.
that's actually way better here.
Yeah,
than,
Frozen Fortification. Yeah.
I don't really know what an appropriate level of fortification should be.
Well, tier 1,
We give plus 75 or plus 50%, if I remember correctly.
it's 40% for 4 points in tier 1 of Unyielding. So, you could do like 10, 20, 30?
10, 20, 30 makes sense.
Yeah, 10, 20, 30.
Got the 50%.
2d6 damage or 100 HP. Yes, it's called an Epic Destiny. Oh. These are great
A lot of
ideas.
stuff you think is a fire enemy isn't. It is possible that we have enemies running around out there that aren't tagged correctly. If you think this is like a genuine misstep, like if you found like a fire elemental that isn't getting hit by this, you should actually like let us know because it's possible we'd be able to fix it.
Yeah, please bug report the Frozen Soul Tree when it's in the game.
Yes, as soon as this gets in there.
Yep.
All right, I feel like the filling in the missing tier 4, and then I think we're actually kind of done.
Tier 4, tier 5, and tier 6 all have a hole in the middle.
Usually like we have 2 gaps. I think Unyielding only has 1 gap.
Yeah, Unyielding has 1 gap. Okay, so why don't we leave a gap on tier 5?
Let's think about this. I guess it's like we have one more idea we want to put in here. Do we want it to be an idea that is exclusive, therefore tier 5, or non-exclusive, therefore tier 4? Like, we should start with the idea, then place it. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, because I'm... What if...
Oh, Death Aura but Cold.
Yeah, Death Aura but Cold needs to go in here.
I think it's a tier 4.
What if it's a tier 4 and a tier 5, because it connects?
Easy, and then there's only 1 gap. I love it.
Yeah.
Aura of Mist. There we go. Aura of Chilling Mist surrounds you.
This was Fireman. Yeah, exactly. Oh, guys, just I'm telling you, just wait for Fireman. It's gonna be the best monster in future expansion.
There we go. Aura of Mist, and then
Why not call it Blizzard Aura? Because we're not at Dairy Queen, dude.
I mean, we could just call this Blizzard right here.
Yeah. And this would be a multi-selector for tank or DPS, right? And one would be the aura has higher threat generation, and the other one is a D6 cold damage. Oh, man.
I mean, D6 cold damage scaling with skull power. That's not like.
If you have 1,000 spell power, that's at most 50 damage.
Is that how math works?
Yeah.
I guess the question is, what does regular Death Aura do? Like, this should just match whatever Death Aura
Yeah, it
does,
should just
right?
do what Death Aura does. I agree. Cryogenic Pulse? It's a very wordy name. Also, I don't think they have cryogenics. They might.
We might. Let's say Death Aura is 2d4 plus 1 per caster level, but I really don't like that, so I'm going to do 1d6 plus 1.
Per caster
and I
level.
believe that's actually approximately like it's 0.5 average damage away.
Okay. Death Aura is mostly for healing. Yeah, but this has an upgrade.
3.5 versus a D4, which is 2.5 times 2, so it's off by a little bit.
Yeah, but it's cleaner.
Yeah. Fine.
Instead of having a blank tier 6, if you're in chat right now, what is the best tier 6 you can think of for Frozen Soul that fits? Throw it out. So
yeah.
The Blizzard multi-selector would be either something that like makes it so the Aura of Mist grants extra threat. So it's like a passive threat thing. So the Aura of Mist grants like it has like 500% bonus threat or something on it. Or no, it adds hate. Can it add hate? Can the Aura of Mist add hate? You know how like there's the attack that adds hate to Celestial Mandate? Can the Aura of Mist add like a bunch of additional hate when it hits?
Yes, but our hate is granular rather than percentile. So we can pick a number and then it does that number.
Yeah.
We can't pick a scalar and it contributes to that scalar.
Oh no, that's perfectly fine. You have Draw Them Out, which is 300, and Celestial Mandate, which is 2,000. So just go in the middle and do 1,000.
I think it should be a little less than that because it's an automatic thing. It's like every 3 seconds. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's free. It's also an AOE. So part of me thinks it should be like 500.
Sure, that sounds good. That's great.
Or
there's too much freezing in here already. There's way too much freezing.
All right, well, like an offensive thing. This should just be like a different debuff entirely. And stacks of frozen to, and this should be just like a preposterously narrow debuff, like frozen plus 20% piercing damage. You know what I mean? Like, like it's got to be something really strange.
Oh yeah, they take like, wait. Ready, and then 10% flat cold resist, and they take more piercing damage because this has piercing in it.
I think this should just be like a
cold
thing. Like this is for cold spellcasters who don't really care about the hate. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So like this is just a stacking debuff that over time makes them take more cold damage.
Sure.
You know?
Sounds good to me. The tree actually does. Oh, if you want to read the tree, guys, exclamation point frozen soul. Like so. Sweet. Okay, so this is interesting.
This is pretty weird, actually. Like this is super super weird. And in a really good way.
Yeah, I can't wait to have to explain to people that we made it. We made an epic destiny instead of an enhancement tree.
Well, I thought it would be a good idea. That's why I wanted to pitch it to you while you were on live. You know, and couldn't say no.
Oh, for sure. Okay, so I'm just gonna make sure I connect everything that's connected, and we'll kind of go through this together afterwards. So we'll take a quick read over of the tree and see if anything needs to be adjusted or if we need better names for stuff.
Because I think Lava Walker is really strong.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like that a lot. I think that's a really interesting, evocative set of abilities, like the Ice Walker, Lava Walker. You know.
Okay, so let's start from the top. So Ice is nice. Is a good core, core 1, and every level gives you +1 cast levels with arcane spell casting, 40 spell points, 5 universal spell power, 20 HP, and 5 cold absorption. It's a good array of stats. Seems good to me. Core 2, or it's core 1, sorry. Because it starts at core 0, because this is an epic destiny. When you cast a cold spell, a patch of ice appears at your feet and the feet of the enemy that was struck if the spell was offensive. This ice patch allows you to skate, providing a 10% bonus to movement speed while on it, and that fire spells will melt the patch of ice. Ice patches last for 1 minute, and you can only have 6 ice patches at a time, and if you make more, the latest one melts, the oldest one melts.
Earliest, yeah. There we go.
And then core 2 is Auto-Luke's Freezing Sphere spell-like ability. Core 3, your ice patches provide you a bonus while you're skating on top of them, giving you 20 PRR and MRR. I'm assuming skating on top of them doesn't require you to move.
Correct, as long as you're on top of it.
Right. And then Ice Flower spell-like ability, and then finally your ice patches now slow enemies that walk on top of them, giving them a chance to fall. Every second they stay in the slowing ice, they gain 1 stack of Lethargy. Cool. Seems good. That's a pretty good capstone. It's
I
not
think it'd be
as
really
go ahead.
funny. Like it's a funny thing to imagine a whole bunch of people just slipping and
Yeah,
falling.
you just create ice everywhere, and there's just people slipping and sliding all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's part of me that wishes that there was some way that your allies could also skate on this. But I feel
If
like,
they're another frozen soul.
yeah, it should be specific to you. Yeah. I feel like having too many people skating would kind of suck. Like, because then everyone would do it.
Yeah, like if everyone in your entire group is a frozen soul, then they can skate no problem.
Yeah.
But like they have to be in this Epic Destiny.
The tier 1 classic Epic Destinies, we got Cold Spell Power for 3 points, Threat Generation for 3 points, Misty Dodge for 3 points, Cold Metal for 3 points. So we got Spell Power, Spell Threat generated from the Threat Gen. What's a good name for Threat Gen?
Oh my gosh. What about like threatening sleet or something?
Aggressive Cold? No, can't use the word cold. There's already cold here twice.
Just cold. Everything is cold. It's like there's only 2 words we can use. It's frozen or cold.
Okay, so this is Chilled Metal. Bitterness. Right. Perfect. Yeah, Bitterness.
Oh, you just call it bitterness? I like that.
Bitterness.
I like that a lot. That's great.
Perfect. And then ability scores are Con, Charisma, Intelligence. Then we've got tier 2, Freezing Weaponry. Your main hand weapon deals 2d6 additional cold damage, and against fire enemies also deals 2d6 bane damage. Perfect. Frozen Bulwark, which is 30, 60, 100 hit points. It's a lot. A lot.
We can tone it down.
No, it's probably fine. It's
right.
It's something you balance later, right?
Yeah.
It's on the whiteboard. Cold casting. So you can choose either evocation or transmutation DCs, and you have to have the prerequisite spell focus. And enchant Ice Shield. So enchants your shield to be made of magical ice. This visually makes all shield icy and adds a cool mist. +1 enhancement bonus. Material type changes to ice, therefore does not break Druidic Oath. +15 enhancement bonus to PRR, and +3 enhancement bonus to armor class. So
ice bonus there.
Sorry, ice bonus to PRR and ice bonus to armor class. Yes. So this is a spell-like ability. So you cast the enchant shield spell.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Tier 3, you got the ice armor multi-selectors. So you have 3 ice armors. You got ice armor, sleet armor, and mist armor. Do these have a visual, or is this just a passive? They probably just have a passive, right?
I think this is a passive. This is like a really upgraded version of like freezing ice guard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so when enemies strike you in combat, they have a chance to gain lethargy, and at max stacks, they have a chance to be frozen with no save. And then ice armor is 15 life, sleet armor is 3 MRR, and mist armor is 3 dodge.
They also trigger differently.
Oh yes, as well. Yeah, the ice armor is when enemies strike you. The sleet armor is when you strike enemies, and mist armor is when enemies miss you, which for some tanks might be more often than when they get hit.
Yes.
What if instead of sleet armor, when you get struck in combat, it's when you get struck by spells?
Oh, what if this were like anti-melee, anti-range, anti-spell?
Yeah. Because it gives MRR already.
Yes.
And you have the feedback effect, where, not feedback, but the overwhelming arcane encumbrance, where when monsters cast a spell at you, they get knocked down.
Yes. We can absolutely do this.
Yeah. So now you've got the physical, magic, or missing?
That's a really good idea. Strike or miss you in
ranged combat.
Ranged combat. Yes.
Yeah.
And the struck by magic just has to be struck, even if you save or don't save, it doesn't matter. Like the spellcast goes off.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that idea. That's sick.
Yeah, that's a really, really good way of doing that. That's a great idea.
Then we got Frozen Veins. Cold spells cast while on the ice patch are cast with 5, 10, or 15% shorter cooldowns. Freezing Guard for 3, 6, and 10 magic resistance rating, and 10, 30, or 10, 20, 30 fortification. And Chilled Spellcasting. Your cold spells apply 1 to 2 stacks of lethargy to your enemies. Cold spells that damage enemies with maximum lethargy stacks have a chance to be frozen solid with no save. All sounds good. I imagine that freezing solid with no save, I wonder how often that would happen.
If I were doing this, because you actually have to build up to it, I would put that around 10 or 15%. maybe a little higher, and I would just simply attach a very sufficiently long cooldown to that. So it's not uncommon to see, but once it happens, you can't really rely on it in a fight.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so tier 4 of the Epic Destiny now. This is the last of the twists. These are the top tier twists. So this is all competitive with Sense Weakness tier. Okay?
All right.
Steal Heat spell-like ability. Target fire creature dies. Genius. You go on a fire quest, you got to do it.
Yeah, like easy peasy. Like it's honestly a no-brainer. You know that's infinity DPS.
There's no quantity of DPS higher than this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You argue Steal Heat should debuff non-fire targets? No. This needs to be hyper-specific. So you can twist it.
Why would you use it on non-fire targets?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't understand.
Icy Heart, so requires Frozen Veins, and Cold spells cast while in the Ice Patch are cast with +1/2/3 cast level and maximum caster level. That's comparable with the Draconic Incarnation, plus 3 maximum cast levels with Cold spells from your Draconic spell dealy, so that would work.
Mhm.
Aura of Mist, an aura of chilling mist surrounds you, dealing cold damage every few seconds. I mean, honestly, that's actually pretty good, even still. Like, imagine twisting that on, like, a melee or something, so you just always have this cold aura dealing damage to people.
Yeah, and it's like, what spells like that do is that, they fill out an attack chain in a way that's really, really, really nice. Because, like, if you have a monster with, like, 4 or 5 hit points left,
yeah,
you know what I mean? You don't need to waste an entire full spell. You just kind of hang out around them until they die.
And then Fire Shield Cold Mass, which is a great twist. People will twist that all the time. That's like a meld into darkness level twist. That's pretty cool. I feel like this tier is good. I feel like all these things have good abilities that you would definitely consider twisting it over other stuff. I will say one of the things that's weird about current Epic Destinies is that tier 2 twists are like all bad, almost across the board, except for like the spell DC ones.
Yeah, I mean, like there's the W's in Grandmaster.
That's tier 1.
Isn't it? Isn't there one that's the tier 2 directly on top of it?
That's Double Strike.
Double Strike. I mean, that's still like.
Yeah, but it gives less than Double Strike than the Wind Stance Double Strike that's next to it, which is also really weird.
That is really weird.
It's okay. It's a problem for another day.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's also +3 damage. Like, I'm looking at it right now. It's not bad.
Yeah. So now we got the tier 5, which is the beginning of the non-twistables. Cold Skin, which is a passive, plus -10% slashing and piercing damage received, and plus 10% piercing damage received. I'm just going to put that in there so it's not like you increase that damage. So the idea is you're just tankier against some types. Frigid Fortitude, which is the hit points exactly from Unyielding, because it's got to be the same.
Yep.
Blizzard, which is the upgrade of the Aura of Mist, and it's a multi-selector, so you either get additional hate, 500 additional hate when it deals damage, or the Aura of Mist now adds stacks of Frozen to your enemies, and Frozen is a debuff that strips cold immunity, reduces cold resistance, and increases the amount of cold damage that they take. Which is pretty sick. Ice Walker is the last thing in the tier 5, where your feet freeze the water below you, hardening it into solid ground. So you create ground when you step on water, and when you move, you create more water or solid ground. However, people can step on it, but it does melt after 5 seconds, so people have to follow along with you if they want to walk on the water with you. And harmful water, like holy water or galvanized water, will still deal damage because it's frozen, or it's unholy ice or galvanized ice.
Yeah. You gotta watch out for that thunder snow. Like
the thunder snow, the electric snow.
Yeah.
Wait, what if a bard takes this? Does the ice and mist amplify the songs? No. It would not.
What's interesting is that, honestly, if I had to pick a class to put this as an analog with, it would actually be bard. Like, with War Chanter and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's got a lot of similarities with War Chanter, that's true. And then we have finally the top tier, tier 6. This is what you come to the tree for. Ice Spike, which is a multi-selector because it's got 1 transmutation, 1 evocation version. And Ice Spikes burst from every ice patch that you have on the ground, dealing 20 d10 cold and piercing damage. This also stuns with a DC of 30 plus transmutation plus highest of charisma or intelligence. Or constitution, or just charisma or intelligence?
Just charisma or intelligence.
Okay. And I imagine that if you have multiple ice patches on the same place, that only 1 hit counts.
I think because there's a limit on the number of them, we should just let you hit multiple times.
So you could do 120 d10s of cold and piercing damage, so 240 d10s.
If you sit there and then for 3 or 4 spell casts in a row prep all those ice patches, then yes.
All right, cool. There you go. Then we have the Epic Moment Ice Block, which is supposed to be comparable with the Undying Vanguard from Unyielding Sentinel. So you turn yourself into an invincible and immobile frozen block of ice. You cannot be damaged or moved in this state. Nearby enemies are driven to attack you, so it's like an Intimidate. And after 4 seconds, the ice explodes, dealing 10 d20s, cold and piercing damage to all nearby enemies, and you can do it every 3 minutes, which is pretty neat. And then lastly, the upgrade to Ice Walker, Lava Walker, where when you walk on lava, it turns into an obsidian beneath your feet, which is super cool.
Yeah. Back when I played a whole bunch of City of Heroes, the Ice Tinker ability, they had like a freeze yourself in a block of ice thing.
Yeah.
It was super, super, super fun to play, especially because like that game had flying because it was a superhero game, and you could use it while you were flying, and you would drop like a brick. Like you would just soar out of the sky at terminal velocity, completely immobile. It was very, very, very fun and funny.
So yeah. This is great. I don't know why we did an Epic Destiny, but here we are. It's fantastic. This is super cool. I love it.
I just figured it'd be a fun change of pace. I've got Epic Destinies on the mind because I've been working on them for so much. So I think it's a really fun example of like just kind of the design choices that we're trying to then elevate. You know what I mean? Like I think it's a good look into just how much we can improve from our current paradigm.
Yeah, because I think this Epic Destiny is probably better than most Epic Destinies.
Yeah, it's like, we're able to paper over some clunky details by just pushing on some stats. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like we just kind of don't want to do that anymore. Like epics deserve to have I would say a much more compelling and much easier to use kind of system. And like even like from the very beginning, like the confusion over Epic Destiny levels of 0 to 5 versus your cores 0 to 6. You know what I mean? Or 0 to 5.
Yeah.
Because it's like it seems a little strange. Like
everything about Epic Destinies is confusing. Like the way that you level it, how you travel through the Epic Destiny tree. I just posted a YouTube video and someone commented and they're like, I don't have Fate Singer. What do I do? I'm a paladin. And I'm like, well, here's the instructions how you do this. So you talk to the Fate Spinner, you select the Destiny that you're supposed to select, then you got to travel with that one, so you level that up, and you level this one up, you level this one up, and you do. It's like, oh geez.
Yeah, it's like DDO has a lot of really, really good bones to it. You know what I mean? And sometimes, like again, after like it's been like 12 years or 10 years.
Yeah.
It's not that that's bad. It's that we can do better.
Yeah.
So just to answer some chat questions here, our Epic Destiny revamp, as said in the producer's letter, is currently planned for this coming fall. So after Saltmarsh. We're working on it right now, and we have a lot to share, but not right now. A lot of really, really significant and really cool things are changing, but like we want to play our cards really close to the chest because it's so much of an overhaul that like we could really scare people unintentionally by saying some stuff. But I'm really happy. I'm really confident in our plans. I really just can't wait for people to play them.
Yeah. Update 49 is supposed to be the bow rework as well as some of the new quests, which is really exciting. And then, if I'm recalling this correctly, it's then Saltmarsh is update 50, and then a return with the if I'm remembering the presentation properly, there's the Wild Hunt returning in the fall in update 51 or something like that. So this makes me, and then a new free-to-play quest at the end of the year. And also the return of the ice slide, of course.
Maybe. Who knows? It could be a different slide by that time. It could
be a different slide.
Different slide, who knows?
So based on that schedule, you're thinking probably update 49.2 for Frozen Soul.
Oh yeah, no, we're actually already in the implementation phase of that. Like that's where I've been putting this together.
You're programming it on the back end, just feverishly typing away.
No, I think it's this kind of stuff is a really fun design exercise because it's like DDO is so fun to develop for. Like it's just a really fun game to do theory crafting and But yeah, as is tradition, if anyone has any like DDO questions about what's happening, what's going on, feel free to throw them out.
Yeah. Oh, I have a DDO question.
Oh ho ho!
So this is something that I'm poking you about because you might know. So there's the Fader Illusionist tree, which has the Shadowblade abilities, which is super cool. And then there's Master of Shadowblades, which ups the maximum caster level on Shadowblades. But the maximum caster level on Shadowblade is not on display. So, just do you know what that is? And then I'll add it on the wiki, even if it's not.
Let me find out real quick.
Yeah.
Enhanced. Hey, Dark Shadowblade. I have to go into the enhancement and then into the granted spell of that enhancement.
Yeah.
God, this is. Cane Bolt. Oh my gosh, not the spell modifier flags. Alright. SP Misk, Fadark Shadowblade, which means that this is just going to be spell Fadark Shadowblade. There they are, and I named them all very intelligently. That's good.
Don't you love it when you see something and you're like, good job, past me. All right.
I know, right?
Top
I'm really
shelf.
happy. Alright, looks like the single target Shadowblade has a max caster level of 20.
Yep.
The Shadowblade fan has a max caster level of 20. And my guess here is that the Blade Barrier is going to have a max caster level of 20. Yep.
Okay, cool. I'll add that
the
into the wiki somewhere.
Yeah, I picked that because I felt it was like you know, if you're character level 30, you'd want to cast level 30 spells.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's 20 base plus 10 increase, 30.
Oh, I do have another question that I thought maybe some people would be interested in because Hardcore League has been on everybody's mind. It's really fun. How have you found like the reaction or just like your excitement about seeing people interacting with both the new champions and also the like the mimics and stuff? And do you have a favorite of the new champions?
Gosh, my favorite of the new champion is definitely the Symbiont.
Oh God,
that
one's such a nightmare.
Yes, that one was a big disaster that required 3 separate people to put together.
Yeah.
I liked writing because I was in my mind. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have 2 lines of dialogue. I'm gonna have the death rattle, and I'm gonna have the one thing that the person can say in action text. And I decided to go with I need a new vessel and because I felt like that was the most evocative.
Yep.
I'm really happy with that. I got some really early feedback that really scared me because I made the fear champion, and I specifically made it so that if you're immune to fear for any reason, it just falls right off you because it's a fear thing. That's fine. And occasionally, at the very very beginning, we got people that were like, I got feared and I couldn't cure myself because I was feared, and I specifically 100% made sure that this debuff does not actually fear you.
Yeah.
It acts like a fear in the visuals, and it tells you it's a fear. But I really have to tell you guys this: you could like save yourself. Use a remove fear spell. Use potions you can buy them in the marketplace. Like I didn't build this with an attempt to be a gear check in the traditional sense, in which basically I didn't want this to be like a hey, don't play tiefling or we're gonna kill you. I wanted this to be a chance for you to save yourself.
Yeah.
So you can purge this off yourself. Please do that. This is completely intended. I want you to be able to think that you're really cool for reacting as fast as you can. That's the intention.
Mm-hmm. Valar's Legs is awesome. It's a great champion. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and like I think the Bard AoE.
Yep. Like, I'm running Spellsinger, and it's just like cheating. Everyone's immune.
Yeah. No, it's like it's one of those things where like you have a lot of levers as a designer, and like my thinking was there's 2 different ways I can do this. One is I can put a really easy to avoid and easy to get rid of debuff, and then because it's so easy, make it really punishing. Or this could be a lighter slap on the wrist, but harder to get rid of or harder to avoid, and I opted for the former.
Mm-hmm.
The fear affecting paladins and such, I do not believe that is
I've never seen it happen. I've heard people say it happens, but then people also were saying that shrines are turning into mimics too, and I had to keep telling people that they don't.
Like, if you can, like, honestly, if paladin's fear immunity is broken, then that's completely on us. I don't think that's the case. If it is broken, we'll fix it, and I apologize. But it's meant to be that any source of fear immunity, even from like being in a party with a bard or an augment or anything, you've seen it happen. That's not good. Um, Ruh-roh. But it is meant to be that any source of immunity is supposed to, this debuff should just bounce right off you. And if it turns out that's like Paladin's thing isn't working correctly, we'll take a look. That's not supposed to happen.
I was gonna say, question for you. So the champions, was that was a collaborative project? I'm assuming multiple people worked on the project.
There were things I needed help with. One, spawning an ooze is a complicated, silly thing, and that took several people to help figure that out. And I also had to get an ooze APR that I don't think DDO has. I think DDO has a hard time displaying. So I had to like get art support and stuff like that, and I had to have Charles make me an ooze. But the designs as a whole, like that was my inception, and then there were rounds of feedback, and I changed things, and then I had to have help with the symbiont because like originally I didn't really have a good idea of how to like actually get the nearby monsters and stuff like that, and I needed help making the ooze because like it was just summoning CR1 oozes regardless of whether or not you were in a dungeon, and I don't understand how our monsters work, so that one needed some outside help. But,
oh yeah, that's a great question. Is there like an idea that was too hard to deal with, so it had to be left on the cutting room floor?
Yes, but I don't know if I want to say it because we're saving it.
Oh sure, yeah, for sure.
No, I've had this idea floating around for a while of
Well, I was gonna say, if you don't want to answer that question, maybe what's an idea of it, one of the champions that you feel like you could have made tougher, after seeing it in performance?
I think the silent ones are really funny. But the fact that debuff doesn't work the way I want it to makes it not so good.
Oh, because you can still spell like ability them to death?
Yeah, and that's something we have to fix on every single spell like ability in the game,
Yeah.
and like that's a really unreasonable ask for a event. You know what I mean? That's a lot of effort on our part, and we should simply retool how that debuff works, and that means diving into the code, and that's like a lot to put together. You know what I mean? Especially on a short notice.
Yeah, for
really
a champion.
Of, like accidentally breaking spellcasting for everybody.
Yeah. I can tell you that as I'm playing as a force spellcaster right now, that magic missile on a silent one is so insanely deadly. It is hilarious. Because his missile hits 7 times. So you get hit with negative damage 7 times. And you're like, oh, I'm going to die.
Oh. Yeah, I've heard some of that. It's possible the cooldown isn't working correctly as well.
Well, it's blockable. Death ward, a whole bunch of stuff fixes it.
Okay.
It was just it was a lesson where I went, oh, pay attention. Read.
Well, I'm really glad the death ward works, because that means I didn't mess up the negative damage part.
Yep, no, death ward works. I'm assuming undead works, hopefully.
Oh yeah, like you'll just be healed.
Okay, a question that's similar to what Cerebri asked in chat. In Season 2, we got cool champions. In Season 4, we got cool champions. What are you guys' thoughts on either incorporating some of these ideas or maybe having a more, like a rotating pool of champions for the regular game? Like, there's people that don't play hardcore, but then they also never get to see these champions or these ideas.
Here's what I think we could do, I think would be really fun, is we have Champion Hunter the event, and what if every time we did a Champion Hunter, we switched over the type of champions?
Ooh. So then during that specific time, they'll be like, Champion Hunter, he's hunting the champions of the Dalekeer, and then for that week or whatever, the Dalekeer champions show up.
Yeah, I think that would be a really easy way to merge those events together, because like behind the scenes, how this works, don't tell anybody. It is just a world event. Like, it is just a number that we flip around to the thing, so we totally can put these on other servers. I think that, like, I don't think there's a real problem with us doing that. It's just, it's just like revamping the rest of our events. We just need the time.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense.
All right, does anyone else have any burning questions here? I expected it to be a little more accusatory, but I guess not.
Yeah. I'm really excited for update 49. I'm going to be redoing a bunch of I have to redo my Arcane Archer build, the Strimtom's Acid Arrow, my claim to fame. a character build that I genuinely hate because I don't like playing Archer anymore.
No, I mean, I guess like from what I've heard, at least from you, it seems like the bow pass is going to improve it.
For the Arcane Archer build, yeah, for sure. It gets way better.
Okay. Look at this. Do we need an apprentice? I think it would be great if I had an intern. I think of a lot of great intern tasks, like parsing a big Excel file full of data and making graphs for me. If we ever have an internship program, I will put it out on my Twitter. I repost all of our job openings there.
Yep.
So if you ever see the Daybreak Eye, that's what that is. Games living on borrowed time. They've been saying that for 15 years. And here we are with my commemorative 15-year hoodie. So, nope.
Yeah, that's so true. It's like DDO is dying. You can find posts like every week for the past 15 years of DDO is dying.
Mm-hmm. All right. Sort of accusatory question. Yeah, I get that a lot.
Zoom option on the
zoom
map.
icon on the map. We have weird scaling problems with our UI. A lot of very static assets.
Yeah.
And unless we find a way to dynamically redo all of our assets, because they're all like 52 by 52 or 18 by 18, scaling things up will make them look really choppy. And it's also a lot of work to add scalable UI as a whole.
Oh, is it working to the Mega Plague?
Flag it. I have no idea. Not a clue. I believe that one bounces if you're immune to non-magical diseases.
Well, that's the symbiont. So
yeah,
I have not been affected by a plague from a symbiont without getting hit by it, and I play a crowd control bard, and so yeah. Are we asking random dev questions? Yes. Well,
yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you have questions about general development, I mean, maybe be like, hey, can you take a look at this line of code?
No, I yeah, back in my day, I used to fix bugs. That was my thing. Gosh, can we fix Sharn welcome lag and tactical detonation for foreign Sharn? If you want us to put line of sight raycasts from explosion epicenters on spells, you will be very, very sad, and your spells will hit less often.
Yeah. Normally the game looks like it was made 20 years ago. I can answer this one. Flying Postman, one of the most popular MMOs on the earth is old school RuneScape because life is pain and people don't like change. So, I don't know.
How long did it take you familiar with the DDO code base? Several years. I was trained as a network engineer and did not have a lot of raw coding experience beyond like the scripting necessary in order to do like hooking up a call manager and like phone lines and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
it took me quite a long time in order to get into the feel of things. But DDO's code is very human readable. We have a proprietary scripting language that's very easy to learn. It just took me a little extra time. How did I personally get to where I work today? I climbed in through a window of an RAT presentation in which Peter Gollin of then Turbine was giving a presentation on MTX. And I had coffee with him and then got an internship in the Island Operations Department of Turbine. And then was moved to the development team and followed that ever since.
I do like that. So it's, when how they talk about like, oh, back in my day, when you want a job, I walked into a job site, I walked to that foreman, and I said, give me a job. And he just gave me a job. You're like, yeah, how did I get through? How do I get a job? I threw a brick through a window, crawled in somebody's office and said, give me a job.
Yeah, no, I really impressed him with my tenacity and breaking into the classroom. All right, ASMR with bad shaders. Yes, it's a known issue. It's something we're actually actively working on.
It probably has to do with a metallic skin texture or something.
Yeah, we have different layers of like the shader on like all of our models and stuff like that, and that's a bad interaction.
Yeah.
It's not great. Network admin as well. Hell yeah. Like all that stuff is totally useful and completely awesome. Like I went to school to be a sysadmin, and it was a really, really good decision. It's a great field to learn, and it's like a multidiscipline that teaches you so much how computers work, and it's been really helpful.
As far as like major bug fixes, major bug fixes happen all the time. There's literally a huge improvement coming in update 49 that should have a reasonable impact on raid lag and stuff. So they are there. Like I said, you just gotta be like there are some bugs that have been in DDO for a very long time, but I imagine that like things when they come in are like organized based on like emergency level. So like if it's like, oh, there's a bug where people are like rolling back, like, oh, that's up here. And then if there's a bug that it's like sometimes I'm trying to think of like a bug that's been in the game forever that's just like bugged. I don't know, like a skill is supposed to give plus 1, 2, 3, and it gives like plus 1, 2, 4 or something like that. It's like it just makes it at a different time. Ladder bug. I remember who was I talking to about this? It might have been Torque, and I remember when I went to the offices, I was like, "What's the deal on that?" And he's like, "Well, the one thing I've learned is like in all my years working on DDO is that if I ever work on another video game, I will never ever add ladders ever, and I will dissuade everyone against. I will try to convince everyone not to add ladders."
No, it's they're yeah, it's if it were possible at breaking the game, low-tech cosmetic and music system, I actually would do cosmetics in a completely different way if I had full control. I would do cosmetics in a way in which you didn't have to remove a copy from the thing and put it into a slot. I would just have a big list of options that you could select from, and then you would automatically turn to that appearance. But that is 1,000% hours of development away that we don't have.
Yeah.
That is way beyond what I can personally do.
Kind of like how there's in like Diablo and stuff, they have like a little wardrobe. So when you pick up an item, it just adds the appearance to your wardrobe, and you can select
Diablo's transmog is per item, which actually really bugs me.
Sorry, like Diablo's system, but instead of applying it to an item, it just applies it to your character.
Yes, that is, I believe, the ideal cosmetic system across all games, and games sometimes can support that, sometimes can't.
Yeah.
Make text expandable? No, that's something that's very, very difficult. If you could list 50 bugs, send it to me. Like, private message me on the forums. Like, or put it in the Halo Annabelle thread. Every single patch, there's like 100 lines of stuff that is like, stuff like that.
Yep, so. Exactly. Like, you know at the bottom, there's like the miscellaneous part, and there's just a bunch of stuff nobody reads. That's usually like the like, oh, this fix, from just stuff that gets like put over.
Yeah, no, it's fixing bugs is very zen for me. But I keep getting roped into big projects like make a big mount UI.
That mount UI is sick. I love it. It's so good.
Thank you. That took me 6 months. I got it working on a Saturday night and got the entire players council together on a video chat. So I woke some of them up. It's quite good.
I was streaming or something at the time. I missed it.
Well, it was really important. I sent you several texts and threw a brick through your window, and I don't know why. I don't really know
the classic brick through the window. It works every time.
It works every time.
Except not that time.
Yeah, exactly. Not that. That was must have been the wrong one.
Yes.